Well, hello, my lovely, luscious lions. How are you, my gorgeous ones? So, welcome, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including astrology, tarot, mediumship, hypnotherapy, all kinds of stuff to help you on your path. So, my gorgeous ones, we have a very active sky for the month of November. This is like already going to kick off 2019. We have a very I don't know how to say this, like a bigger expansion physically for a lot of people. I will say for you guys, this is more emotional, soul searching next year for you guys. Not that you're not going to get physical stuff, but your focus is going to be a little bit more on what you want. What you want. Like some of you think you know what you want, and trust me, I don't like claim to know everything, but what I'm feeling when I got into your energy is that a lot of you are going towards what you wanted, have been, but then realize I don't really know what I want yet. Like, how do I know what I really want yet? That's what I'm feeling for a lot of you guys. So let's get started. I'm not going to be able to go very deep into everything for this month because we have such an active sky. I wanted to kind of touch on everything. And so what's going to happen is the most viewed video for November, whatever sign that is going to get a full Celtic cross tarot and a full, where we go day by day, astrology or astrological reading for the month of December. So whoever's the most viewed video will get that. So if you like, you share this out, get this video up, then you guys will be the one to have the full readings for December. So let's get started right off the bat, November 1st. And I apologize that my hands and what I'm saying is not going to be on the same link that you're seeing, okay? So on the 1st of November, we are in retrograde, Venus retrograde. So Venus, you know, is the planet of love, luck, and money, right? And so this has been in your third house. The third house has to do with your siblings, your coworkers, your neighbors. This has to do with administration, media, any of that. That's this house, right? And so this house has had Libra in. This is Libra in it for you. So it's been about balancing and trying to keep everything okay, trying to figure out the balance and all of that, dealing with maybe siblings, dealing with maybe coworkers, maybe if your work is in the media or is in some sort of administration, then you've had to, with Venus retrograde, I'm sorry, it's been in your fourth house. It went retrograde. It's been in your fourth house. It's going to move now into your third house, right? And so on the 1st, it's moving into your third house. So whatever you've been sort of working on in this, it's going to finalize sort of at the mid of November. But once it moves into this house, this is where you sort of figure it out, balance it out. So some things may be coming to you having to do with love, luck, or money, and you having to amend, reorganize, revise, right? Makes sense? So that happens on the 1st. And on the same day, we have Mercury moving into Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is a very optimistic sign. The big news is that Jupiter is going to move in there for the next year. So Sagittarius being a very optimistic sign, wanting to make the unknown known, with Mercury moving into this house, but he's conjunct, which means, see, he's speaking to Jupiter here. So whatever you've worked on here in this fourth house, the fourth house is about my safety, my security, my comfort, what makes me happy, right? That's kind of where I'm feeling that you guys are like trying to figure out what really makes me happy. Am I really doing what makes me happy? I thought, I'll just give you a scenario. I thought having a lot of people around me and being the life of the party, I thought that's what made me happy, but that's kind of made me a little bit worn out, and I'm having to entertain a lot of people. This is just a scenario, but like maybe I need to fulfill myself in another way, right? That's this fourth house. So Jupiter's been in there helping you figure this out. I'm not saying that you hadn't figured it out yet. I'm saying that you've been really thinking about it and figuring this out. So whatever you've been sort of working on, straightening up your life, figuring things out, what makes me comfortable, what makes me happy, what makes me feel secure, where have I come from, why do I do the things that I do, why does my family do that, and where do I fit into all this? That's that fourth house. with Jupiter moving in there, and it was in Scorpio, so you had to go deep. You had to learn some lessons. Jupiter being in this house, once it leaves, and sort of when it's leaving this house and moving into the next house, with Mercury there, is going to gift you with some sort of message, some sort of understanding, some sort of gift, right? So that's what I feel like is going to be going on in this first week of November for you guys, is that you're going to get some news, you're going to get some clarity, you're going to, somebody's coming with a message, a gift of some sort, or a situation comes and sort of just falls in your lap where you're like, okay, this is what I wanted, right? So that happens on the first, but I feel like it's like the first week, because you guys know that energy doesn't stop and start, it sort of flows, right? So on the 6th, we have our nodes. So the North Node is going to be moving out of your sign. It is going to be moving into Cancer, which is in your 12th house. So this is all subconscious. So the 12th house, which means, always where the North Node is, the South Node is always opposite, right? So where the North Node is, it's going to be moving into Cancer, which is in your 12th house, which means the South Node is going to be moving into Capricorn, which is in your 6th house. So where for the next year and a half, a little over a year and a half, where you were able to be the life of the party, the center of attention, or your family, daily activity, your schedule, all that was really hectic and all of that, like you were trying to really figure that out too, where that's been really hectic, that's now going to take a back seat, because your North Node is going to be more prominent in your life over the next year and a half, which means completions of things that you'd started, completions of things that you're trying to complete in this lifetime that maybe you didn't complete in a last lifetime, right? Or the last 3 lifetimes, or the last 100 lifetimes, kind of depends on your path. And this also has to do with your past, present, and future, but it has to do with your path coming in. So there's some stuff going to be going on, and that's going to be your focus. Also, when your North Node is in your 12th house, you can tend to be a little bit more isolated. You can tend to go within, and this is why I'm talking about where Jupiter was, where Jupiter's going to be in this 4th house of really trying to understand, and maybe I thought I figured it out, but now this North Node comes and things come on my path, and I'm like, oh wait, no, maybe I want to do this. Maybe this is where I'm headed. Like this, maybe this is what makes me happy. This is all that North Node on your path, what you're trying to accomplish in this lifetime, what you're trying to experience in this lifetime. So you could have loves of your life come in this 12th house, because the 12th house is your subconscious, right? The 6th house is your conscious. The 6th house is where you get to make the choices of all the issues around you. This is like where your free will is, right? So I like this, or I want to do this, so I need a better lifestyle, or I'm going to do, that's all the 6th house. The 12th house is that subconscious, the stuff that just comes on your path, the completions from other lifetimes, maybe even from when you were young, and somebody comes back, but they are the loves of your life. Stuff like that could be happening in this 12th house, and that's over the next year and a half. I am going to do a series on the North Nodes. I'm going to finish out these November. I'm going to do a Venus retrograde series. I'm going to do a Pluto series, and then I'm going to do the node series, okay? And then I'll do December's. So that's happening on the 6th, but that starts for like the next year and a half. So then on the 7th, we have this new moon in Scorpio. So the new moon in Scorpio is in this house of yours where what makes me happy, what makes me comfortable, what makes me feel better, right? Where have I come from? Where am I going? Why do I do the things that I do? Why is my family that way? Why am I that way with my family, right? And so this new moons are about new beginnings. And with Scorpio, can't do anything shallow, got to go in deep. So for me, my interpretation of this is, and I'll have a video on the new moon. I always have a video on the new moon and the full moon. But this for you guys is about these things that you have worked on that you maybe had to learn a lesson through some trauma, through some crisis, through something, that you're going to get this new beginning. You're going to get an opportunity for a new beginning in this house to make you feel more comfortable, more safe, happy, right? So that happens on the 7th. Then on the 8th is when Jupiter moves into your 5th house. So on the 8th, Jupiter moves into Sagittarius. Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius. Jupiter loves this sign. Jupiter feels really, really comfortable in this sign. And Jupiter, over the next year, will be gifting you in this sign, right? But it comes from your 5th house, which means, and you're the best at this, Leo, only you work like this, right? If it comes from your heart, if you're creating something from your heart, if you're having love affairs, those things are all going to be growing in this house. That's Jupiter. Those lessons that you're going to be learning in this house, something that comes from your heart, maybe even having to deal with your siblings. There's going to be some growth. I'm sorry, not your siblings, your children. There's going to be some growth process in this house for you. Jupiter is going to be in here, but Jupiter will gift almost the most here because it's Sagittarius's ruling planet, right? And so it moves into this house. So where Jupiter was in Scorpio and it had to, you learned your lessons through some sort of chaos, some sort of tension, some sort of crises. It's not going to be that way in Sagittarius. It's going to be very optimistic. It's going to be lighter. The growth doesn't have to be coming from pain. The growth will come from a different sort of understanding, right? And so that's happening on the 8th, and it'll be in there for a year. Then on the 16th, Mars moves into Pisces, which is going to be in your 6th house, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, sorry, in your 8th house. I don't know where I got 6th from. Capricorn's your 6th. So Mars is going to be moving into your 8th house. So I know Neptune has been retrograde in there, which means you're reorganizing, you're revamping, you're amending, you're trying to figure out you and other people's money, right? Other people's resources, maybe a loan, maybe a grant, maybe you're dealing with a divorce, maybe a separation, whatever this is, you've been really trying to figure it out, and you've been really giving in this house. Most of you. Some of you have some lessons to learn, but with Mars in there, Mars is the god of war. Mars takes action. So I feel like when Mars moves into there, there's going to be some action you're going to need to take. Mars is eventually going to conjunct Neptune. See right here where it conjunct means they're going to be speaking together, having to do with a grant, a loan, an inheritance, some shared resources of some sort that you've had to amend or are trying to amend. And when they speak together, something's going to come forth from this, okay? So that's on the 16th. On the 16th, on that same day, Venus goes direct. So whatever you've been working on since the end of September, that's when Venus was in shadow, like a week and a half before October, or 2 weeks. So when it was in shadow, whatever you begin to work on, whatever came through at the end of September, beginning of October, Venus is now going direct in this 3rd house. So I feel like in order to receive these love, luck, or money, whatever the situation is, that everybody's different, there's going to be some administration parts, some filling out paperwork, some having to do something to get this done. So you've already amended, but I feel like with the 3rd house, if you've been working like on a project and it has to do with film or media or the internet of some sort, maybe, then by like the 16th is when you're going to sort of figure it out and you're going to be able to see it clearly, but you're going to have to do some work for it. Does that make sense? Okay. So Venus goes direct on that day. It won't end until probably December is when it all finishes up, but you'll get some clarity as to where you're going in this house. Then on the 17th, so the 16th, Venus goes direct. On the 17th, Mercury goes retrograde. So Mercury going retrograde in this 5th house for you, there's going to be some amending, revising. You know, a lot of you know and understand Mercury retrograde. So there's going to be some revising, some editing, having to do with communication, having to do with the media, having to do with paperwork, having to do with processing something, like maybe getting something finished. This is going retrograde, so there's going to be some revising in this house where has to do with love affairs, your children, or something coming from your heart, something that you've created. Okay, so but remember, Jupiter's in there trying to expand this house, so this is needed so that you can learn your lessons and receive something bigger. That makes sense? Then on the 19th, we have this grand water trine. Okay, so this grand water trine has to do with the sun in your 4th house, Chiron in your 8th house. Yeah, Chiron in your 8th house, and then the North Node in your 12th house. So I feel like with your 12th house, your path is going to get clearer because it has to do with the sun. So there's this opportunity, there's this gift. The Grand Trine is a divinely guided gift, but it's brought to you on an emotional level because it's a water Grand Trine. The Chiron has to do with that old wound that you need to sort of figure out and release. And I'll put the Chiron video, the link to that video in the description box so you understand Chiron and how to work through this. But whatever this is, it's a gift. And I feel like it's going to clear up as to where you're going in the next year and a half. Like it's going to help you see the direction you want to go. It's not going to give you every step, but it's going to, like, it's an opportunity. It's a gift coming to you to sort of help you see the direction that you're headed for your life, for the people around you that you want, for the type of relationships you want, for what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable. That's all like the main focus here, and it's going to be for probably a year. Okay, so that happens on the 19th. Then on the 22nd or the 23rd for some people, 23rd for me, 22nd for some. On the 22nd, we have the full moon in Gemini. So this full moon in Gemini has to do with, so we know that full moons are releasing. Full moons are about letting go of what no longer serves you. When you do this, fate, destiny, miracles step in, right? So this full moon is releasing something. It's going to show you something in this group of yours. So this is the house of groups, of networking, internet, supporting your 10th house. So there's going to be something shown to you so that you can release or let go. Maybe you're changing groups, maybe you're changing networks, maybe you're changing something with that. And that's going to be happening. And I do have my full moon, new moon video. So just remember, I'll go into more depth with that. So that's Gemini. Gemini is very inquisitive. Gemini likes to research. Gemini likes to communicate, right? So it's that type of energy. All right. So then on the 24th or 25th, depending on where you are in the world, on the 25th for me, 24th for some, this is when Neptune goes direct. So Neptune is going to go direct. And it's going to be conjunct, which means it's speaking to Mars. This is where I'm talking about. So a lot of you that are 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Yeah. So I feel like when Mars and Neptune conjunct, especially, like I said, the 7th house, the 10th house, and the 8th house too. If you guys are in the entertainment industry or in the sports industry or in the dance industry, you could be getting contracts when this happens. You could be expanding when this happens. When these two meet, it can be one thing or the other, and it depends on how you do this energy, because they don't usually work well together, but they can work well. And when they work well together, that's where you get the big celebrities, the big public eye people, the big ones, right? So you could either become sort of the poor me, poor me, poor me, or you could work in that energy, have it balanced, and grow into something bigger, right? This house has to do with other people's money. So that's why I feel like some of you could get the part, could get the contract, could get blown up in some ways. Somebody helps you. Somebody loans you the money. They back you up. You're able to do whatever that you're trying to do for your career if you're in this sort of industry. I feel like that for some of you. That's not a lot of you, but I feel like that for some of you. The reason I don't feel like that for a lot of you is because I feel like some of you won't balance these two energies together, and it'll be more about, poor me, I never get the da-da-da-da-da. Because I'm going to give you a scenario about what I mean, because Spirit's helping me. Say you wanted this part so bad, right? I'm just going to go into the industry. I wanted this part so bad. Or I wanted to play on this football team so bad, right? And you go try out, and the other person gets it. And you're like, they always get it. I never get anything. They always get the part. I don't know enough people, right? And you just become this sort of, ugh, right? Where it's poor me. I've tried so hard and I still don't get it, right? Where you don't realize, and I'll give you the other scenario, which is this person that's like, you know what? Good for them. They got it. Okay, they got it again. Guess what? My time's coming. It's coming because I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work. I know what's in my heart. I know I'm supposed to be what I'm supposed to be. So it doesn't matter that I didn't get that part. So I'm going to go off and I'm going to go work some more and I'm going to go do something else. And you take a trip and you go somewhere and you meet the producer of another huge movie and you get the huge part that gives you the breakout. Like, that's the way this energy can go, right? That's a big explanation, but I wanted to sort of give you some perspective where you can be like, poor me, and then you just don't do anything, and then you go lay down and you're in your bed for days. Or you're like, you know what, good for them. I send them, good for them. Yes, they got it, and they usually always get it, but guess what? It's just not my time yet. I'm going to keep working. I'm just going to keep doing. But guess what? I need some time off because I've been working, and I'm going to go to this retreat, or I'm going to go here. And you just happen to go somewhere, or you just go into a movie theater, and they just happen to be there, and all of a sudden, you get this big breakout role. Like, you can use those in two different ways, okay? So, I was needing to say that for a reason. I don't know why, but I was led to say that. Okay, so that sort of ends November. Let's look at your cards. I'm going to pull 3 cards. Again, if you want that full Celtic spread, if you're the highest viewed video, I'll be looking at the shares and the likes. And if you're the highest viewed video, you get a full Celtic spread and a full astrological reading for December. All right, let me cut these cards. I had already shuffled them and got into your energy, but I wanted to do it on camera with you guys. All right, so where do we start in November for my lovely, luscious lions? Look, you have the sun. That's a great card. So things are lining up for you. Things are going to happen. Whatever it is that you've been struggling with, trying to make happen, really working on, I feel like starting in the month of November, you're going to see evidence that it's going to, I feel like a little release. Like, okay, things are going my way, things are happening, things are going to line up, things are going to be okay. Like, I feel better, but I feel like I don't just feel better, I feel like I see. And so then I feel better. Does that make sense? And so their advice in this situation is the 5 of Wands, meaning, so the 5 of Wands with their advice with this sun, as things line up, don't let up. Do what you need to do, take the action you need to take, don't rest on your laurels. That's what I'm hearing. Fight for your right, fight for your boundaries, stick to your convictions, right? If you're okay with your convictions, or you know that your convictions are what you want, then stick with them. Don't do this wavering back and forth, or sort of allowing people to believe, or allowing people to do and you not really saying much, right? That's their advice for the sun lining up in November. And then we end with the 2 of Swords. So you're starting off great. Maybe that's why they had me show you the different in perspectives, because it's like I see evidence in the sun and they're telling you to stand your ground, but then at the end, it's like maybe something doesn't happen exactly like you want it to happen, and so you're like, all of a sudden you can't do anything, or all of a sudden you can't make a decision. So the 2 of Swords is about feeling. See how her eyes are covered? She's ready to move, but she's like, I can't move until I get it clear, right? And so the 2 of Swords, what they say with this card is, you only feel like you don't have enough information to make a move, but you actually do, because the answer is within you. So go within, ask the question, and don't make a move until you get the clarity. But don't look for the answer on the outside. Look for the answer within. You're looking for somebody else to make the move so that you can make the move. You need to make the move to get this thing rolling. Does that make sense? All right, my gorgeous ones. I love you, love you, love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful month. I will talk to you soon. Bye.